Get ready to be amazed by these videos from all over the internet. That's going to make you question everything. Let's just start.
Part 1. The fallen angel statue discovered in Siberia by a team of Alga core miners has sparked intrigue and fascination, particularly because it was unearthed at the same site where the Soviet Union once attempted to drill one of the deepest holes in the world. What makes this statue particularly extraordinary is that the cloth draped over it is not carved from stone like the rest of the statue. Instead, it is actual fabric. This unique detail has left many people unnerved as the statue appears incredibly lifelike. With intricate facial features and realistic clothing, how could a statue possess real fabric? The statue is also depicted with a large shield and sword, adding to its imposing presence. Its wings are remarkably well crafted, contributing to the overall stunning appearance. Once the statue's discovery was reported to the authorities, the government quickly intervened, confiscating the statue and transporting it to a secure location, and it was ultimately flown away by helicopter to an undisclosed site, leaving many curious about its current whereabouts.
The justice system is really not fair because the average person that's wealthy can easily pay their way out of prison. It's really all about money because the people who have the money always pay their way out. They hire the best lawyers, people that know they did the crime, but the people that are put on the death row are the people that hardly have anything, people that hardly have family. Think about it this way, and back to my favorite story. My favorite show, O.J. Simpson versus the People.
If you just bought a smart TV, the FBI is also issuing a warning over those devices.
So what this means is I could be sitting here watching TV from my bedroom, and you could be anywhere in the world looking at this image of me watching it.
Yep.
You've done everything right. Strong passwords, privacy settings, even tape over your webcam. You're careful with your phone and laptop, but there's one device you probably never worried about. The smart TV sitting quietly in your living room. It plays your favorite shows, responds to your voice, and looks harmless, but behind that screen, it might be watching your back.
Did you know Jehovah's Witnesses are like super active on the dark web? Now there are a lot of paranoid people and conspiracy theorists talking about why this might be, but really it's pretty simple. The Jehovah's Witnesses are kind of like a subset of Christianity that has very strong rules in regards to idolatry, and some of them have rules against saluting a flag or pledging allegiance to a country, which as you can imagine has not made them popular with authoritarian or soft authoritarian governments. For example, in Singapore you can't distribute certain versions of their Bible, and in Russia they're like fully identified as a terrorist organization, which is not funny, but it also is funny. So because of that, there are some countries where it's illegal to own their Bible, but legal to browse the dark web. And since the main function of the dark web is to get around censorship, there are not only sites on the dark web dedicated to reading pretty much every single religious text, there's specifically a ton dedicated towards the Jehovah's Witness version. I just think it's funny, like, there are people out there, knock knock, do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior, and then going home to hop on the dark web and upload Bibles.
Y'all, this guy is saying that Christianity was never a European religion and it actually was stolen from Africa? Like, what? Listen to this.
A bunch of white nationalists pushed Christianity down your throat.
Christianity was in Africa before Europe. Whoa, did you hear that? The Ethiopian Bible is older than the King James Bible. Thank you. That's exactly right. The argument that colonialism brought Christianity to Africa is completely wrong. Why is it completely wrong? Because Christianity was already in Africa before Europe. Christianity was in Africa before Europe. And one thing you need to know is that Christianity is not a European religion. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
They just rebranded it. The faith didn't start in Europe, it started in Africa. Ethiopia had scriptures long before King James or Rome. But colonial powers erased that history, removed over 1,000 books, and sold us a religion that looked nothing like the original. So if you think Christianity came to Africa, you've been reading the edited version of the Bible. This Bible, the Ethiopian Bible, still has what they deleted. If you're ready to read what they erased, tap the orange card down below.
I knew Americans and their food were really strange, but wait until you see what their strawberries look like. Genuinely, their strawberries are inseminated with something. Why are their strawberries white on the inside? Another case in point, they are white. Why is it white? Another example of what the strawberries look like. I'm not gonna say what it looks like, but you know what I'm thinking. I might head over to America in a minute. What? Why are they white? It's a side-by-side of what our UK strawberries, is that what they're called? I don't know, English strawberries look like. Versus America. They are definitely putting something in them. Strawberries are meant to be juicy, succulent, red. Americans, I hate to tell you, but I think they're putting something in your strawberries, because that is not a strawberry. It's just not. It's not. Why is it white in the inside?
It's crazy, creepy.
What the hell is going on over America? I would love to go over there, but seeing this is what fruits look like over there, I'm concerned about what they're injecting into those things.
What the actual fuck did I just watch? This isn't coffee. This is a biochemical weapon dressed up in a plastic cup that says Dunkin' on the side. Somebody named Christine just ordered diabetes in liquid form, and a poor employee had to assemble it like they were building the goddamn Death Star. First, they dump in sugar, 3 solid bursts of granulated regret, already enough to jumpstart a toddler into orbit. Then, 12 pumps of caramel swirl. 12. That's not a drink, that's a caramel cremation. The pump bottle literally says, contains milk, like a subtle threat. Next comes the ice. Cute. At this point, it's just a crunchy coffin for your pancreas. And oh look, almond milk. Because non-dairy totally cancels out the sugar orgy, right? Sure, babe. You're health conscious. Slay. Then they dump in the espresso like it's gonna save your soul. Stir it with a sword and slap on the lid like sealing a biohazard. Sticker says 12 sugar, 12 caramel, 2 almond milk. Christine, are you okay? Are you actively trying to speed run a diabetes diagnosis? The camera pans over and she's ordered another one. This woman is chain drinking dessert potions at 9 a.m. I'm Nurse J, and if your coffee order starts with a number and ends with a coma, you're not caffeinating, you're speed running organ failure.
You let Diddy do this to you? Did you not think the video was gonna leak? That would have been the case if Diddy's house didn't get raided. But now your career's at risk. Even with that being said, I have to show them. Just in case you guys didn't know. We know Baby as the person that doesn't really like gay people. Turns out he was just projecting. Because what Diddy did to this man, now it's no surprise. We know Diddy as the person that has been going through a lot of allegations in these past couple of months. Clearly not doing what he should be doing. But in the midst of them raiding his house, they found thousands of tapes. I'm talking about tapes with your favorite celebrity. From a wide range of people that were part of the parties to people that were actually helping Diddy out in the first place. Now, the Baby did go to one of these parties, and what he said shocked the whole world.
He had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me. Right. So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there.
Okay, maybe everyone but me knew this, but I just learned from the book I'm reading, I'll put it right here, that the 3 meals a day thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is from colonialism and white supremacy. That when the European colonizers came and saw the indigenous people eating when they were hungry.
Yep, trust me, we know. We know to only eat when the sun is right in the middle because we understand the natural rhythm of things. The problem is certain people think they are civilized than the indigenous people, but we've been knowing to only eat once a day and to actually only eat not out of addiction but when you feel the energy to recharge. That's when we eat. We've been knowing. So decolonize your mind.
I wish I could unsee the video that I just saw where a 19-year-old student sadly passed away after unbuckling her own harness mid-air and falling to her death. You see, Tijana was parasailing on vacation in Montenegro when something went horribly wrong. This was after she accepted a ride free of charge in exchange for a video to boost business with tourists for the summer season. Before she took off, she underwent training, showed no fear of flying, and her friends said she was smiling and waving at them, which makes what happens next so unexpected. Witnesses reported that moments after taking off, they heard her screaming, saying, put me down, and help me." Then, in a moment of sheer sheer panic, she unbuckles her harness and then her seatbelt 160 feet in the air, and I won't show what happens next. Her friends and family said she was not depressed and she would never take her own life, and the parasailing company said she might have thought something was wrong with the equipment and started to have a panic attack. There's currently an investigation, but we may never know why she did this. Rest in peace to this poor woman. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
Let me explain to you how the system works. So the first thing is they want us to be in jobs, JOBs, because there they can transduce our most valuable resource, which is our time on the planet. Our effort, but our time on the planet. They can take that non-renewable resource, by the way, and transduce it into a debt instrument, Federal Reserve notes. Things they're not actually worth nothing. They're actually debt instruments. They're IOUs. And the rate of exchange for our time is so low, such that they can make a great deal of profit off of leveraging our time so that the companies make money and we make very little for what our time is really worth. Then, do they pay you your full measure? No. They take half of it out as withholding on taxes that are unconstitutionally levied against us to take away even more of that labor transduced into worthless units, only to return it over a year later after inflation has made it even less valuable. Then we spend what's left and have to pay an additional sales tax, 7 to 8, 9, 10%. And one of my favorites is that even before we get those dollars, they take our money and put it aside for retirement in an IRA or a 401k. And we think that someday in the future, the IRS will honor its word and that we'll get that money back without tax. And the IRS has stated plainly that they'll change those rules on a whim, even though they said they can't be changed. Even if they did honor their word, by the time you get it back, it won't have even made up the value that inflation was degrading it in the first place, and you've lost money. You might as well have just taken the tax hit. And then the pièce de résistance is that media cons us into thinking that we can have the riches of avarice by putting what's left of our money, after all the expenses and taxes, into a market that is designed to take our money and recycle it. And the best part about that is that we can't really deduct those losses more than $3,000 a year, and we will take up to 40% tax hit on the capital gains. Oh yes, and the more money you make, the more it's taxed. Does this seem like a fair system to you? Like there is a wealth strategy planned into having a JOB?
I have a new book for you called Incorporate for Freedom, Corporate Structures of the Elite. It'll show you how we set up the basics, why we do what we do, what's required, and everything else, including taxation and bylaws and minutes and a bunch of other things that are critical to compliance and keeping your corporate veil strong. Just go to the link in my bio, and right now it's on sale, and as far as I'm concerned, at this price, it's virtually free. Given the wealth of information about how the 10-figure corporations do what they do and how you can do the same. I'll see you inside.
Man, y'all ain't gonna believe this, dude. Did you know somebody owns the rights to the King James Bible? The Crown. You know who the Crown is, don't you? What's that? You don't recognize him? Hold on a second. Yes. Hold on. Here he is. This guy right here, man. You don't recognize this picture, do you? A little reversal I did. Oh, wait. Hold on. There it is. There it is. That's just mind-blowing. I cannot believe I did not know that the British Royal Crown owns the rights to the King James Bible. That's crazy, isn't it, fact checkers? While we're looking at cool stuff like this right here, meet Marina Abramovic. Do y'all know who she is? Here's her hanging out with some of her friends, celebrity style. You know, De Niro, I really loved Robert De Niro growing up, man. What a daggum shame that is. There's a theory, people say, that she's actually Lady Gaga's mother. There's several videos of them together and stuff and their mannerisms and whatnot, but I'm not even saying I believe that. I'm just telling y'all what I heard, you know what I mean? Check her out, man. Look up, check her out and see what y'all think about her, man. Let me know in the comments.
4 videos for you to watch. 2 of them's real people, 2 of them's fake AI generated. And I want you to tell me which one you think is real and fake. And while we're at it, you can send this video to your parents or anyone who was born before 1999, and they'll fail the test. 1, is this real or not?
And I was like, wait, what? I literally just, honestly, like, it's just so much easier to do Zoom 1.
Video number 2.
Man, I went and paid for this. Like, this ain't even what I asked for.
Okay, video number 3. Most of you will get this one wrong.
Y'all know what I'm saying? I've been telling all my girls, you gotta get on these Goalies ashwagandha gummies.
And this one is my favorite.
I'm literally finna crash out. She forgot my goalie gummies. Again. How am I supposed to focus? I got mad third period. Bro, I needed that.
Well, if you guessed all 4 of them was fake AI generated, you are right. This is literally exactly how to do it. Now come over here. I'll show you the website. Something basic, very simple. Great prompt. It'll generate and cook up a crazy prompt. Go to Flow, create new project, paste it, set your settings to VO3 highest quality, and then bam. This is the video it just cooked up.
I feel like that's why I tell everyone, go get you some ashwagandha, because it is a game changer.
You have the power at your fingertips to make and create whatever you want. You think this is crazy? Think about what it's going to be like a year from now or 5 years from now. AI only gets better. If you want the prompt builder, just go to the link in my bio on this account. It'll take you right there. You can print with this.
This just got way darker, and you're going to want to hear this news. Billionaire hedge fund legend Paul Tudor Jones just went public saying AI isn't some far-off threat. It's an imminent danger in our lifetimes, not in 50 years, but right now. He sat in a room with some of the top tech leaders on Earth, and when they were asked, what are you doing about AI security? They all admitted nothing. Why? Because the competition's too fierce. Russia, China, the US, everyone's locked in an AI arms race that no one's willing to slow down. Here's where it turns straight up chilling. Paul says he's buying 100 acres in the Midwest, stocking up on cattle, chickens, provisions, because he's prepping for a collapse level event. And get this, he even said it might take an accident that kills 50 to 100 million people before the world wakes up to how dangerous AI really is. And the craziest part? No one on that tech panel pushed back. People building this tech aren't planning your escape, they're planning their own.
In Memphis?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny.
So, where do black people actually originate? Let's get into it. Kyrie Irving, not too long ago, posted this on his Instagram. Now, we heard it from Elon Musk himself. Memphis is the actual capital of ancient Egypt, coming out of Elon Musk's mouth. Now, having seen that clip, do you think why would he say that? Is he saying that for no reason? I don't know. So, if we want to get into it, now, the way I know this, I was shown this on DMT. I had a breakthrough while taking ayahuasca. I had a breakthrough, and I actually traveled to inner Earth in the astral plane. So this is how I know this. There is a sun. So this is flipped. There is another sun. We have a second sun. Not the one that we just saw in the sky the other day. Not that. There is a second sun called the black sun that is in the center of the Earth. The Earth is hollow. There are civilizations, tons of things in the center of the Earth. Now, the black sun in the center of the Earth emits, that is where everything comes from, right? It's a wormhole, and it is a portal to the fifth dimension. And you could think of the fifth dimension as okay, so the fourth dimension is the mental plane, or the astral plane. So everything in the third, everything trickles down from dimension. So everything in the third dimension is a consequence of a fourth dimensional thought or construct, and then it forms. Like, before you build a house, you make a blueprint and you map it out in your head in the astral realm, right? So it is made in the mental plane first, and then people build it, and over time it becomes a third dimensional object, right? So in the center of the sun, and this is also, the black sun is also the symbol where the swastika, or the symbol of the swastika comes from the black sun. So that is what those, when you hear Aryans or neo-Nazis say the sun will rise again, they're referring to the black sun, right? Which is super funny, because people with no pigment or melanin don't come from the black sun. They are biological test dummies, right? Like, white people are a result of melanated beings from the fifth dimension and Neanderthals mixing DNA. So basically, the Anunnaki came here, they took the DNA from us, right, from black people, and they mixed it with Neanderthals, and that is how these master races are made. So the black sun is a wormhole in the center of the earth. So if you flip this image around, this is in the center of the earth, and it projects energy up. That's why things grow up from the ground. Trees, things grow up from the ground because energy is coming from inside the earth. Pyramids, which are all over the world and in all different civilizations, are obelisks, which are energy harnessing technology. That is what a pyramid is, right? So that's why they said the CIA released documents that in the bottom of the pyramids in Giza, there's these spiraling structures that go thousands and thousands of miles beneath the ground. It's because those are coils that are used for harnessing energy up from the black sun to the earth. The sun that we see in the sky is a projection tech. So it takes the energy from things that come out from the ground and it projects it onto the surface. The moon is artificial as well. The moon is you could think of the moon as the Death Star. That's what I would say it is. There's technology, and this is confirmed. NASA did tests where they threw projectiles or launched projectiles at the surface of the moon and measured the resonance, meaning that when stuff hit the moon, the surface of the moon, it shook, right? Meaning alluding to it being hollow. So there's talk of on the dark side of the moon. There's been remote viewers who have talked about seeing Nazis, tall Nordic whites on the dark side of the moon conducting whatever type of experiments and stuff of that nature. That is, I'm not going to say that for definite. I have never astral projected there myself. I don't know. I've never downloaded that information myself, because whenever I take like ayahuasca or DMT or even shrooms, I get downloads from the Akashic records. So I've also have seen my ancestors in spiritual planes while in these states of mind, while in the breakthrough of DMT. And so what I know, and when you experience downloads, there's like a knowing. It's like there's no question about it. It's like, okay, you know this. Like you're also information is encoded in our DNA. So what we're doing when I just leaked the word. What we're doing when discovering these things is that we're not discovering anything. We're remembering, because we are beings that come from outside of this physical realm, right? So we know everything. Like deep down in the subconscious, everyone knows everything. But we're pretending like we don't, because that's part of this game. That's why we came here, is to forget so that we could remember. It's just the cycle. So now let's look at the plane, the globe that we live in. So we live on a flat plane, and there are each planet. NASA is a lie. Space is fake. Everything is underwater. Water is the womb. Water holds information and memory as well. That's why if you blast frequencies at snowflakes, it'll change its structure and how it looks. Like if you blast a 528 hertz frequency of love, it'll be like a perfectly formed snowflake. And if you blast like distorted, perverted frequencies of hate, it will reflect in the shape of the snowflake and make it look ugly. This is proven science. You could go look that up. So water holds memory. Everything is water. There is water above us and there's water below us. So everything is encapsulated in water. We live in this is what this is in the third dimension, right? And we are in this, here, let me zoom in. So this is where we live, right? It's called Terra. Tiamat. Or Tartaria, right? This is Earth. Now, this is where we live in the middle here. You have our known lands. You have Asgard over here. That's where Narnia comes from. Everything also, movies, books, all this information, this fictional information, is taken from mythology, from ancient texts, and given to you in a perverted way for predictive programming reasons. But no one came up with this shit out of the top of the dome. Like, all this shit comes, all this information is sourced from somewhere, and then they might fictionalize it extra just for the sake of selling their book or movie, whatever. But this is where we live. We are inside of an ice wall. Outside the ice wall, there's more land. If you look at this, Mars is over here. I know it's hard to see. Let me zoom in. So you have Mars over here. This is where Elon Musk is shooting his rockets to. He's shooting it towards Mars because there is no escaping. That's why if you look, Mark Zuckerberg is building a multi-billion-dollar bunker as we speak in Hawaii. He bought up like acres and acres of land in Hawaii. It's known fact that he's building an underground bunker because they are trying to escape doomsday, right, or judgment. For us, for five-dimensional light beings, there's nothing to fear. Doomsday is just Earth ascending from 3D to 5D, and that's density, which is vibration. So as the collective, as the frequency of the collective consciousness raises, Earth will no longer be in third density. We're only in third density because of the collective consciousness and the vibration that we are the frequency that we're vibrating at, right? So as the collective, more people wake up and things are solar flare, light codes are being activated, we are going to shift densities from third to fifth density. And so Elon Musk, these Archons, reptilians, Anunnaki, the bad Anunnaki, all these people, Zeta Greys, all these life forms that are here manipulating and controlling our matrix and enslaving humanity have to face judgment. So what they're trying to do is, that's where transhumanism comes from. They're trying to merge with technology. That's what Zeta Greys are. Zeta Greys are a former civilization of humans that have advanced technologically so far that they merge with technology and cut themselves off from source. When you cut yourself off from source, that's where you get into losing a soul. So now there are races of beings like the Zeta Greys and the reptilians that went so far from source that they have over time lost their...
Crazy. What? What is this?
And we all know they didn't build it. They found it. With more images of the entrances, these are named portals A and B. And as we swing around the side here, we can see portals C and D. Multiple entrances to a massive underground, old world complex, a city where we know there are buildings inside. I will never from this point on be able to just look at a mountain the same again. There's no way. There's no other massive government or military site that's located right next to Raven Rock, right? Wait, what is this? What is going on here? Washington, D.C. is located right next to all of this. A massive location connecting it all. And as we find this in real time, notes just decide to close automatically. It's all random, of course. Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States of America, without a doubt, is connected underground to all of this. This is unbelievable. I know that we're correct about this because thinking logically, the construction timeline doesn't add up. 4 years. No way. The major locations surrounding the area are all off limits, and all for military purposes. We have Washington, D.C. right down the road, the capital of the United States. We know there is an underground city in this location. They've told us this, and we can see it. And it's all built into solid rock. It's documented.
You become like what you hate. You become like what you respond to. Therefore, if you become like what you respond to, you are growing in conflict with yourself, and that's called conscience. And the problems of the world, let me tell you what the whole problem of the world is. Oh, please don't. All of the problems of the world, all the misery and all the suffering and all the agony and all the diseases and all the wars and all the guilts come from not listening to what we know is right in our hearts, but listening, responding like the serpent in the Garden of Eden, responding to the outside voices, outside
Let me ask you about that. If it's true, as you say, that
if it's true, can't you recognize it?
If it's true that all the problems of the world will be solved by people listening to the voice within themselves, why do they
not
have
a
to...
voice? No, intuitive knowing that we're born with.
Fine. Then
and
if
the culture
true,
rushes in to take its place. Culture, it's not... You see, the vested interest of culture, the people who want to control you, they want you to doubt yourself. They want you not believe in yourself. For example, they can take your constitution away if you don't believe you have it. If you own a car and I can convince you don't have it, if I can make you doubt that you own your car, I can take your car away.
Are you a hypnotist? Let's get back to the voice within. You're trying to duck this question. You said...
I never duck any question.
You said that all...
You're ducking the answer.
You said that all the problems of the world would be solved if people listen to the voice within. And if that's true, why do they need to buy your tapes? Why do they need to hear your voice, Mr. Masters?
First of all, it's not the voice within you need to listen to.
Oh,
when a man is blind, he needs a voice to guide him. He needs a pattern of direction.
Your voice? Your voice?
But wait for it. Wait for it. Take it easy.
No, we got a short
Don't
show
jump
here.
to conclusions. Your intellect is rushing ahead. You're trying to think for me. You're trying to put words into my mouth.
Mr. Masters, let me ask you a question based, I think, rationally, I hope rationally.
Let me finish the answer.
Wait just a minute. Let me ask you this. This is an important question because I'm basing it on what you just said. How can a person listen to the voice within when that voice within must have been inspired from things without? I mean, you're not born with the knowledge of conscience.
That shows you how much you know. It shows you how far you've fallen from reality, that you don't even know that you have an intuitive knowing. Let me tell you something, my friend, that every human being in the world is born with the same knowing. I can meet a person from Timbuktu, and we are like brothers, because if we're not influenced by culture and destroyed by culture, we are children of the same lights. Therefore, we have the same idea of manners, the same idea of grace, the same sense of fairness.
That's not true at all. That's absolute garbage.
Society destroys that and makes little zombies, psychotic zombies out of us. And my job is to bring people back to that inner knowing.
That's not true.
And everybody's looking for that. Everybody in the world, except people like yourself, is not looking for that. You're making fun. You're doing the same thing as they did to Jesus years ago. You're making fun of my Father's truth.
Mr. Masters.
Sin is actually deeper than what people think it is. Sin originates from the Latin word peccant, which means to violate a rule or a principle. And by conquering the 7 deadly sins, it's basically a playbook of how you can suffer the least in life. Because let's be realistic, suffering can't completely be avoided in life, but by conquering the 7 deadly sins, you can suffer as least as possible. When you conquer wrath, things don't piss you off, things don't get you angry, so you're at peace. You conquer lust, your urges don't control you anymore, you're free. You conquer gluttony, your gut doesn't control you. You control what goes in and outside of your body. Envy, when you don't envy anyone, you're free. You're carefree because you're not worried about anybody. Greed, you don't want more than what you already have. You're perfectly at peace. Sloth, you're a human being with a soul. You have a fire inside of you. You're designed to be doing things, creating, building. So as long as you're always doing something creative or constructive as a human, you're good. And then pride, having an egotistical sense of self when everything is one. And by being prideful, it by default leads down to the bottom 6. Yeah, the sins are actually deeper than what we think they are. They're really just a blueprint to just avoid suffering.
Prostitutes were popular in the Bible. I mean, I went and I took a look and I'm like, what in the world's going on here? So I went and I kind of took a gather at it.
Did you say prostitutes were popular in the Bible?
Yeah, they're mentioned on multiple fronts. So I'll get into it.
But when you say popular, what do you mean by that?
I'll go right into these verses for you. So King David had like 8 wives, and concubines are sex workers. And he had so many sex workers that he couldn't even keep count. So his body count was apparently way higher than mine, and God condoned it. King Solomon, he married his own daughter, which God condoned. He had 700 wives. He had 300 sex workers, all of which God condoned. Deuteronomy 22:28-29, God instructing Arabus to marry his victim. Genesis 19:16, Lot's wife got turned into a pillar of salt. Adam and Eve, they have 2 males. So we're apparently all descendants from incest.
I would very much be open to suggesting that you enter an actual Bible study.
The reason they tell us the truth in movies and TV shows is because it's television. They're telling us what they're going to do in the future. That's why it's called television programming. How am I just now realizing this?
Crazy. And we've come to the end of today's video. Crazy videos. I hope you learned something new. And don't forget to subscribe and also share the link. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.